Welcome to Close Walk Catholic Communications. I'm Father Bayer, your host. We're glad that you can join us today. I hope you saw the first episode. If not, this is the second. Many of us of a certain age grew up with the wit, the wisdom, and the holiness of Archbishop Fulton J. Sheen. We always heard, as he did his presentations in such a grand fashion and as he used the Blackboard, we always heard that there was an angel who erased the blackboard for him. Now, I've not been able to see the wings, but at one time that angel had hair, not anymore. But he's the author of this book, and the book is Six Popes by Msgr Hilary Franco, the secretary for Archbishop Fulton J. Sheen, and it's our great honor to welcome him to Close the Walk. Monsignor,
thank you so much.
Welcome.
Thank you
Thanks for
again.
being
Thank
here.
you again. Thank you.
Monsignor, during the break, we were talking about the devotion, the dedication, and the prayer life of Archbishop Sheen and the different things that he prayed for, that he wanted.
Yes.
Give us...
Yes, please. If you, I want to share this with you because I lived with a man, for 109 East 88th Street for years, together. We were together, working before and then living with him. And I remember the first time that I lived with him, I wanted to impress the bishop. You know how young people are. At 6 o'clock, I come down from my apartment, and there I am. I said, oh my, look at this. That was my first boo-boo. Last night, I forgot, because we had the two of us, and the Norwegian Lutheran cook who was downstairs. I said, I forgot to put off the light in the chapel. He said, this is 6:10 in the morning. So I go down and I open the door. Oh, the bishop was already there, kneeling down in front of the Blessed Sacrament at that hour. Then he would serve my Mass at 7:30 because there was no concelebration at that time. And then at 8 o'clock, I would serve his Mass. And then we start this kind of a full day all the time, all the time. But that was the inspiration. That was the beginning of everything. Many times during our conversation, we had lunch at 12:30 and then dinner at 6 p.m., One day, just things come to mind. I hope you don't mind. And I'll never forget when Frederick, at lunchtime, he said, Frederick, tonight we are going to have a dinner at 5 because at 6 we have dinner at the Waldorf. Here's this kid, said the Waldorf story, kind of. I didn't say anything. Well, sure enough, he was right, because that night, like so many other nights, he would be asked to speak at these events, and the food was horrible, So that's why, But just going back to the inspirations that he got from the Blessed Sacrament, and the other love of his life was naturally the Blessed Mother. But I felt, that whatever he would write, this is so beautiful. I wish I could have pictures to show. We had a beautiful chapel where one of his books actually was, we had one of the greatest photographers at the time, Harsh, that was coming from Canada, to take our pictures, was done in that chapel. And then his study. But he would write from that big study with so many books and whatever. But he would be looking at the Blessed Sacrament. There would be this big door and would open into the chapel. So he always had, during our living together, we would walk on Park Avenue sometimes at night, and he would always say, well, all my priestly life, during my holy hour, that famous holy hour of Bishop Sheen, I always ask for three things. One, to be as active as possible until the age of 80. To die in front of the Blessed Sacrament. and to die near a feast of the Blessed Mother. Now, I think this is a sign of holiness because the good Lord listened to him because he was active until the end at the age of 84. He died. He died on the 9th, the morning was found on the morning of the 9th of December, 1979. And he was kneeling down in front of the Blessed Sacrament. I mean, that's a way of understanding the holiness of this man.
Wow. Now, obviously, you knew a side of him that the television audience didn't know, but I was ordained in 1979.
Oh,
So as a priest, I only had childhood memories, and of course, a
right,
childhood memory.
right.
But as I've read, I've discovered,
Yeah,
really a prophetic voice of him. And what I would hope is for anyone who's watching here who didn't grow up with Archbishop Sheen, tell us some of the wisdom that you remember, some of the things that were so profound. And at the time, people were wondering, what's he talking about? And lo and behold, look at what it is.
well, I have to tell you, from also from the 100 handwritten letters that he wrote to me, and that's my treasure, as you do know. It's so clear, so evident, that he would always have the way of presenting things, the wisdom, as you're saying, Fulton J. Sheen.
Give us some
Take,
examples.
for instance, one day he was talking about poverty in the world. And how did he start? He said, well, if you take a globe of the world and you go around the 30th parallel with your finger and you go all around, you will see this is really an incredible thing. At that time, and I guess it's the same situation now, we have on the upper part of the 30th parallel has less of the population of the world, yet it has 94% of the wealth of the world.
Wow.
6% is down
below
where you have most of the population of the world. He used to say all the time in one of his famous, I was present and I was really actually in that television show, he always mentions the angel. He thanks the angel. He said, one of these days, the people will rebel, from down there. They're going to come up because they see, especially through the mass media of today, they see that, for instance, Hillary Franco or Father Jeff, they have a beautiful television set. They don't have anything, So in order to get there, they will risk their lives, and in order to come up and be part of the upper part of the 30th parallel. This is really something that really impressed so many people that I remember, receiving, we used to receive 10,000 letters every week,
Wow.
most of them. I had 61 secretaries to respond to those letters.
Oh, my goodness.
Because the bishop wanted every one of those letters to be responded to. Naturally, he would sign one and whatever, but most of them would say, I liked your show or anything of the kind. But we had so many responses to that program, the 30th parallel. He actually was a prophet in his own so many times, foreseeing things. I would like to show you, too bad that I don't have them with me, but I would like to show you a letter that he wrote when 1978, on the 6th of August, Pope Paul VI died. All right? And then we had the 33 days of John Paul first. And then on the 16th of October, we had the election of the new Pope. Guess what? Bishop Sheen wrote in my handwritten letter that I have with me, actually he wrote what the new Pope was going to be. Now, He died in 79, and I had the possibility of actually seeing what the bishop had already said about this pontiff all through his life. A real prophet. It's an incredible thing.
No, I mean,
The Pope will be like this, will do this. You know, the new pontiff will do this. It's an incredible thing. I probably
wow.
the next time I see you, I'll show you the letter, and you will say it can't be. You know, but he was a prophet
Wow.
in his own way. And well, don't forget that in 1953, but this was very famous. In one of his famous television shows, he said, "Hey, who knows? Probably Stalin could be called by God. He was still alive, but the week after, Stalin was dead.
Wow.
That's history." And it
Yeah.
was done
Yeah.
by this exceptional man. He had a way of expressing himself in such a unique way. Let's not forget, he was very fond of Chesterton, and Chesterton was famous for these kind of
Love G.K. Chesterton.
right. It's an incredible thing. Interesting that this young man, this young American priest, was studying in Louvain.
I've seen the apartment. Everyone knows because I was location director. That's where Fulton Sheen lived,
That is
right there
correct.
in the plot.
Right.
Yeah.
So what happened? He wrote his first his dissertation on
And
because he
Louvain.
was an agrégé en philosophie of the University of Louvain, and guess what? It's called God and Intelligence. Was the first of his 72 bestsellers. The preface was written by Chesterton.
Really?
Yes, that's an incredible thing. Even then, as a young man, he was nobody at that time, just an American priest, in Louvain.
And G.K. Chesterton wrote the
That is
preface.
correct. It's
Wow.
incredible. It's easy, God and Intelligence. That was the
Is it?
preface, unbelievable. So, in a way, going back to this exceptional man, living with him was really not only a every single day that there was something in my own like notes that I have. It's incredible how the bishop today talked about the resurrection. They talked about this, and I naturally I put it because I always kept my diaries up until now. So
Right.
you will be my diary today.
Now, what I want to do, because we've got to go to a television break. What I want to do, he had this insight into society
Right?
that he could see things that
Yeah.
no one realized what this meant.
Yeah.
And we want to talk about that. Stay with us. We'll be back in a moment. Hi, I'm Father Jeff Bay from Closer Walk Catholic Communications. Thank you for being here today, and a special thanks for the support that you give us. First of all, your prayerful support we so desperately need, and also your financial support. We are donor-driven, and that is what keeps us on the air today. As you well know, the truth is in great demand and in very short supply, and mainstream media is not going to bring you the truth of the Gospels of our Lord Jesus Christ because that's not socially acceptable and it's not politically correct. Certainly, we all realize that when this life journey's over, we don't stand before the Supreme Court, we stand before the throne of God. Therefore, with great clarity and great charity, to pronounce the truth of the gospel is important. Your prayers, your financial support enables us to do that. So we thank you, and may God bring you closer in your walk with the Lord each day. God bless you. Hello, and welcome back to Closer Walk Catholic Communications. I'm Father Bay, your host. It's a great honor to have with us today Msgr Hilary Franco, the author of this book, Six Popes, which is available on Amazon, but also just a man whose life and his priesthood has probably been part of the impact of the history of the church for the last 60 years. One of the great things or opportunities that he had was to be the private secretary and the housemate of Archbishop Fulton Sheen. And so Monsignor, we're so happy to have you back. And, uh, there are things that I read now, and I'm going, how do you know that? And so was it a sociological perspective, a theological? But I remember, and this is before he died in 1978. He said, "We've come to the end of
1979.
right." But he said, "We've come to the end of Christendom."
Right.
I'm not saying the Christianity's over, but we've come to that point where the Christian ethos, if you will, is what is the guiding principles of our society. And my gosh, I'll tell you what, 45 years later, nothing could be truer.
I do have to tell you that many times as I live now, and I almost have to go back. I'm forced to go back to the days that I lived with Bishop Sheen, where he would tell me what would happen today, what is happening today. Now I am a witness of what I heard him mentioning at either a table or during our conversation. Many of the ideas of the Second Vatican Council had been discussed at our table, the two of us, discussing these kind of things that then they eventually became a reality during the council. And also the mere fact that he foresaw something that eventually would come. You see, the prophets, profanity, speaking on behalf, he felt that whatever he had received in the morning in front of the Blessed Sacrament, he had to share with others. And that was what we call a prophet. So he
Yeah.
would foresee what would happen later on.
Tell us some of those things. I know that one I'm talking about, the end of Christendom, but
Well, let's not forget that in Fulton J. Sheen, we have three stages. The first stage is the philosophical stage, and you can see it in his books. The first part of his books, the first time where they were published. Then the second, we have the psychological. He was really taken about how to use psychology and sociology at that time.
and I want to come back to that because he wrote some profound stuff about it. But keep going.
And the last beautiful was the scriptural Sheen, when he's so taken by the knowledge that he had, the profound knowledge that he had of the scriptures, that he would use them at all times. I do have to say that I contributed in the finding the quotations, the scriptural quotations of a book that one of his bestsellers, The Priest is Not His Own. So most of those quotations, in my poor, humble way, I researched and they were put in that book. It's interesting how his humility really attracted me since the beginning, because he would always be like at the disposal of the people. We would sit down to have dinner, all over the world. People would come. The thrill of my life, Bishop Sheen. Oh, and Father, can you take a picture? I was a young man. I wanted to eat. He did not eat much, but then he would abide. They wanted probably some kind of an autograph or a picture, whatever. He would always abide. The humility of this man, no matter what. He was really on top of the world. At that time, he was more popular than the presidents would come and go. But he would be,
His wisdom
until
endured.
for 11 years, his wisdom was really what attracted so many people, especially young people. Where are you going, America? That's another beautiful program that I would like
Where
the people
are you
to
going,
look at.
America?
Where are you
Okay.
going, America? It's an incredible thing. Where are the young people going in America? That's another beautiful program that a video that they could set. But if you have time, go and watch also the What's My Line of when
Is it Bess Myers? I'm trying to think of some of
he
the
will
people.
he will be interviewed by the panel. Naturally, he was they had to be blinded
Right,
because
right,
he was
blindfolded.
so blindfolded because he was so known. So
Oh, sure.
it was really an icon.
And they
And
would ask questions and try
oh
to guess who he
yes,
was. Yeah.
yes,
Now, I grew up and came of age in the church when psychology was all the buzz.
uh,
You know,
uh,
psychology and sociology,
sociology. I know.
and
I
but
have my
your
sociology.
doctorate.
No, I have this. That's my second one because the first one is in biblical theology.
Okay.
I, on the first three books of three chapters of Genesis.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Just like the car that Father Chuck had you in. But anyway, no. Uh, but his take on psychology, he saw value in it, but he
Yes,
also saw great caution.
that is correct.
Tell me about that. The psychological and sociological, he thought could serve man well, but in the wrong hands could be very destructive.
Correct. He was always insisting on this. Even at that time was psychoanalysis, was very popular and so on and so forth. As you can see, many of us, he mentions the psychology approach. Let me put it that way. But he's never a slave of that approach. He always uses to explain things, better, and that was his wisdom. Using whatever tools he had, including psychology at that time.
Which is wonderful because psychology sees man as rational animal, theology sees man as rational animal with soul,
That is correct.
and that was
Yeah.
a tension
Yes.
that he identified that I don't think in sociology is the same thing.
Yeah.
That they look at us almost like we're lab rat experiments, and we can't denounce that.
No.
And he had great insight into that.
And also I have to tell you that he was also up on how can I say the new devices. We would always go to like big department stores like Saks Fifth Avenue. I'll never forget. And he would say, "Well, we should never forget that one of his converts was Thomas Watson Jr. The founder of IBM."
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, and he used to come to our mass. One day he said, "Father, 10 o'clock. I'm sending my great intelligence. I'm sending my chauffeur to show you and the bishop my computer, the famous computer of the Pentagon that they had done. The famous." And so, sure enough, at 10 o'clock we go. Kind of, and these great technicians,
There's room full
all
of
dressed in white. Not there's huge room, all dressed in white, explaining to us. We did not understand much, But at one point, a little bit of me think that he was kind of short. He looked at me because I guess I was the younger, and he said, "Father, whatever you see here, and much more than this, one day it's going to be in your pocket." Boy, I have my smartphone, and they can do anything.
That's smarter than I am. This kid's 91 years old. We went to CVS this morning. He paid with his watch. I don't even know how to do that. But anyway,
I have so many. I have so many apps here, but also, I thank God I don't need a cardiologist, but I do have this thing here that tells me actually an electrocardiogram.
Yeah.
Yes, it's an incredible thing.
Cardiomobile or something.
Whatever, they and I push for 30 seconds and that's it. Why? And this brings me to another thing. I mean, later on, I would be in the diplomatic corps up in Washington for 2 years, then the 26 years in the Vatican. And I'll never forget, I was in the Vatican for a year when I said to Cardinal John Joseph Wright, I said, we should computerize the Vatican. In those days, we're talking about 1969, because I had, kind of,
Seen that.
the founder of IBM had sent us all those machines. Remember with the think machine that had the ball that would go
Oh
from,
yeah, oh yeah.
So, and I said, probably we should have the same thing here, he asked me if I would like to explain to the Cardinalatial Commission, 5 cardinals. And I did. I said, well, we should do it, whatever. And I'll never forget Cardinal Morella, was a Roman, but he had been stationed in the United States as a young man. I said, hey, listen, we have to do this, because otherwise we're going to be, you have to be updated. So, he looked at me and he said, ma come abbiamo fatto finora? How did we do it until now? So I had to it took me 1 year to convince them. Today, the Vatican is more computerized than the Italian state.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Now we've only got a couple minutes left, but I'm going to put you on the spot. Given the world situation, the way it is, what we're dealing with, you knew the man, you live with the man. What would Fulton Sheen's advice be for us today?
Right now, he would immediately say that the prayer is the most powerful means that in order to achieve true peace in the true sense of the word. And by praying, he has done so many wonderful things in his life and through his devotees. And I feel that also his devotion to the Blessed Sacrament and to the Blessed Mother. He used to tell me all the time, I hope one day when the Lord will call me, he will call me and he say, okay, you come, because my mother has spoken well of you.
What a wonderful way.
What a wonderful way, really. And I do hope that the same thing will happen to all of us.
Let's pray for that.
Okay.
Monsignor,
great pleasure.
Thank you so much for being with us. We'll have you back again.
Thank you so much.
God bless.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being with us. May each day bring you closer in your walk with the Lord. God bless. Hi, I'm Father Jeff Baye from Closer Walk Catholic Communications. Join us here on this station each week as we strive to bring you the gospel message with great clarity and great charity, and may God bless you in your walk each day.